points for it. So, yeah, we are now loaded into Neo Humanity, and starting in the top left-hand side, it is the blue Protoss player, Haas.
And on the bottom right, hailing all the way from Korea, it is Park Zoun Hansol.
Whoa, very hype. Park Sang-hok's Haksol?
Park Hansol?
Han Solo?
Yeah, actually, he does kind of sound like Han Solo.
Very nice.
Han Solo.
Both players going for the gateway here at the top of the ramp, as we know that there's no ramp on this map, but just rather flat surface leading into the natural expansion. And Zoun's going to be going for a gateway scout, whereas Haas is trying to be a little bit tricky. He's actually seems to be scouting for potential kind of rushes himself, or actually just pathing the probe around to not get seen out on the map. So maybe some trickery here early from Haas, perhaps a 3-gate aggression off of one base could be in the cards here.
You think that was deliberate? Like,
yeah,
he knew the probe was coming in at that time?
Yeah,
Just enough that he could hide the probe and get out?
I think so. Yeah, I think it had to have been. I don't know if he waited to move the probe when he saw the red probe on his map, right? Like from the gateways going up the ramp.
Yeah.
That might have been his cue, but it was perfectly timed, more or less. So might have just studied his opponent, or know the regular scouting patterns for that matter, right? So
If that's the case, then kudos to him, because this is not even his first opponent, and his preparation would have been off the charts for him to accomplish this.
off the charts to accomplish this. So maybe just knowing the regular scout timing, right, and working around that.
Yeah, but I think even though, despite that, it's not really the regular timing for the scouts. So
Gateway scout it was, right?
Yeah, usually you scout after the second gateway. But yeah,
Okay.
Very impressive stuff.
Yeah, very odd salad was made here from Haas. Ends up being cancelled. I'm not sure if he was anticipating that the
Oh
natural
no,
could
it's gonna get
blocked.
scouted. Cats.
Oh, Satch.
Yeah.
He will see it.
So maybe not that great of a proxy spot after all. Let's just get accidentally scouted.
Yeah, Stargate is the response here, and Zoun already on the map with 2 stalkers, so could go for the proxy, but has to go up a ramp if he wants to, so will not, and that will give Haas enough time to get his own stalkers out onto the map. Still, I mean, Zoun much faster to the next 2 stalkers as well, so if he moves in on this at any point in time here, he will have a decent shot of killing the pylon perhaps. Observer out first from Haas, followed by a Warp Prism, so fancy stalker juggling in the cards.
I do wonder, I think Haas knows that Zoun knows, which actually could change the way he goes about with this proxy robo.
Yeah, probably taken down here from Haas, but not at the expense of... It will be at the expense of his probe and maybe a stalker. So it has to be micro back there. Phoenix from the Stargate is the response from Zoun, so... A very strong response here, given the circumstances, and there's not really an immortal or anything to apply extra pressure from this robo, so the Warp Prism here just to juggle the stalkers.
Does have the advantage of the watchtower, so if he fights here, it is better for him with the Warp Prism. That's basically an added blink to his to his stalkers. But yeah, there's no way he's breaking through Zoun right now because there is a shield battery at the front. What he can hope to accomplish maybe is elevator into the main. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. He's targeting stalkers one at a time, juggling very nicely. Now I'm forcing the shield battery overcharge pretty early on, so that's okay from Zoun. He needs to recharge his shields, and Zoun is going to understand that. So Haas will pull back and try to do that, but Zoun not giving him much room to work with. No more production from the Stargate on the side of Zoun, so a little bit odd that he just managed to make 1 Phoenix off of the Stargate right after having scouted what exactly Haas was doing, and now producing an Immortal, but won't be out in time, so a strong timing here from Haas that I feel like he had no right to hit.
Yeah, he actually decides to completely ditch the natural. This is very interesting. I figured after you made the Stargate, like you said, there would have been at least a Void Ray or something, a unit that could actually fight back.
Or multiple
Instead-
Phoenix or something, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how the game plays off out of this. I mean, it's possible that they'll still just be even. Because they do have identical tech. Of course, Haas with a slightly faster Twilight.
I mean, Haas, I really want him to drop a Nexus sooner rather than later, but he's completely walled off of his main base, sadly, so that doesn't seem to be an option. If he was to just drop a Nexus, I feel like he would be in a very good position because, yeah, like tech-wise and unit-wise and even worker-wise, they're fairly even, but the advantage that Haas has is positioning here, right? So he could negate the coming down to the ramp from Sound for a very long time. But you need to capitalize somehow, and Zoun is just floating his Phoenix over the natural of Haas, kind of being like, okay, like as long as you don't have an expansion, I am good to sit on this high ground with my greater immortal count.
Yeah, he really shot himself on the foot a little bit by walling off in the main. Now there's really not a realistic way for him to expand unless he kills the gateway or brings back the War Prism,
Yeah,
both
I
which
mean-
would take a long time.
Yeah, I could recall the War Prism, right, and just hold here for as long as possible. I would have liked those to be sentries if that was the case, if that was what he was going for. Sound just now
Yeah.
starting the blink, so he would have been contained for as long as the blink is not finished, he would have had to have been contained for that long, right? So if you could have just dropped the Nexus in this time, you would have gotten so much further ahead on the side of Haas, but not to be the case. So this game is anyone's game still.
Yeah, actually, this does get kind of wonky at this point. It's kind of like a Mexican standoff here. The first one to move usually will get shot, but it does look like Zoun wants to take the initiative a little bit, dropping 2 Immortals towards the main of Haas. Huh. I'm surprised he feels confident enough to do that, especially considering that Blink will be done soon.
Yeah, and Haas has not shown any sign of aggression like past. I mean, finally he's killing his gateway. He warped in a few stalkers in his main, which will help against the Immortals. Goes after the Warp Prism, will be able to get it. But I mean, I was gonna
Instant
say, yeah, I'm not sure. Do you like that recall?
I think he was just worried, right? He doesn't know if there was another warp incoming and if there's 7 stalkers.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that was definitely the safer decision. But now
Yeah.
he's still stuck in his main. He doesn't have a counter to that just yet. He does have
Soon,
to
though.
wait for Blink to finish.
Yeah, but Blink
What-
is coming, right? Like the thing here is gonna be the Immortals. If you are Haas, you need to force heal those off when the stalkers want to go down the ramp. So
Yeah.
still tricky position for Sound here, and Haas is finally taking his natural expansion after killing his own gateway. So he will begin to pull ahead on that regard. But Blink is done, right? So I mean, he could have been mining 2 bases for this entire time, and I think he would be unreachable for Sound at that point. But let's see what Sound can do. He is pressured to get out as soon as possible. The War Prism will enable the Immortals down the ramp here. And a very aggressive blink here from Sound is going to net him the low ground here. Push Haas back, and now Haas has to retreat with whatever he has left. The Robo also exposed in the middle of the map, not really producing Immortals whatsoever at this point in time. As the Immortals begin to lag behind, Haas turns around to try to trade a little bit. But all in all, a successful break from Sound, who still has those extra 2 Immortals, so shield batteries, much a necessity here in the defense.
A very successful breakout by Zoun. Instead of taking a Nexus in his natural, he is gonna decide to try and push through. He has the proxy gateway, he has the Warp Prism, he has all the tools necessary
Only 1 battery.
to keep reinforcing.
Add batteries
So-
at this point, right?
Yeah, I don't know if he has the time. He's gonna keep trying. The overcharge is gonna end soon.
Good
The
concave.
2 Immortals, they're gonna be game changers here, I think.
Absolutely, and the shield battery overcharge, like you said, is going to run out. No additional batteries have been deployed here on the side of Haas. And now the concave even favoring Sound, so probes being pulled off the line. The Warp Prism does get taken down with a unit inside as well. The Immortals are exposed and will be taken down, so most of the most dangerous units on the side of Sound have gone down, but the shield battery inactive here And the number of stalkers is still plenty for Zoun to continue to push on forward. Now with a 20 supply lead, make it 16 as the next set of warpins does show up for Haas. But, I mean, he has 15 workers left.
Yeah, at this point, I mean, worker count is not that important because Zoun's main is pretty mined out. But it is still a stalker deficit that Haas cannot overcome.
Mm-hmm.
Good game.
Was it?
That was...
I mean, it was interesting for sure.
I like the fact that Haas almost took it, and I feel like he should have taken it.
He should have taken it for sure. If it
Yeah.
wasn't for that gateway earlier, I feel like the play was okay. Like, I'm walled off with my gateway. I'm just gonna warp in sentries, and recall my warp prism and get a probe out ASAP. Right? Like, I think that might have had to be the call there.
Yeah, I think so too. Honestly, I'm not even sure why he decided. Well, he did wall it off in the first place because there was a possibility of a depth coming in. Even Zoun, of course, he had the proxy gateway there. So it was definitely a very real possibility. But like you said, recalling the warp prism or something like that probably would have been better.
Yeah. So yeah, I agree with you, right? Like, in an ideal world, you just didn't wall off. But I can understand the decision to wall off, and you don't know how successful your attack is going to be. You're probably feeling like you're on the back foot already. So the fact that the attack works, which was kind of crazy to me, because again, investment into a Stargate, that's a lot of time, and then investment into a single Phoenix off of the Stargate didn't seem justified from Zoun to me. And I think that offered a possibility for Haas to hit a lot stronger with that deficit that Zoun has, like effectively paying double for a Phoenix and a lot of time for a Phoenix, right? And not having the robo ready makes it so that Haas had a strong timing there, kills the natural, but he didn't seem ready for the follow-up. It seems like he almost... The world in which Haas won that game was if Zoun tried to hold the natural and couldn't. But Zoun just said, okay, I'm just going back in my main. And as soon as Zoun makes that decision, I think Haas needed a plan B.
I agree. Yeah, the plan B just wasn't there. He was a bit lost for a while there, maybe trying to push up a few too many times into the main. But he has his chance now to come back, rectify his mistakes, begin his redemption arc in this best of 3, because otherwise he's going to be eliminated, Guts.
He will be eliminated. I mean, that would suck for either player. Would be more surprising on the side of Zoun, but we'll see. If Haas can do something here, in the bottom right-hand side of the map, it is Haas.
And on the top left, we have our Han Solo coming all the way from Korea. It is Zoun.
Is he your boy?
My boy?
Yeah.
They're both my boys, I think.
Nice. How come there is no Protoss Cabal, you think? Like, Protoss players, I feel like they take so much abuse just from playing the race that they don't have a voice to speak up.
Protosses don't have mouths, right?
That is a very good point, yeah.
Plus, they're united by the Kala.
No mouths.
So by default, they already have...
I see.
They're connected.
Ah, that's a very good point. But they haven't been able to accomplish much in the way of helping their case. What the hell? Oh, okay. I thought Haas was heading towards Zoun's proxy here, but he's just heading towards the zone. So both players are going to be proxying pretty nearby each other.
This is absolutely crazy. So it does feel like Zoun is going to proxy Stargate, right?
Yeah.
Based on this position.
I would like that.
What?
I
No
would
way.
like that, yeah. Oh,
What?
no way. Josuef. He saw it?
He saw it.
That is just absolutely crazy. The absolute madman sends his probe randomly to the most random spot in the map. Which wasn't that, I guess, yeah.
And what's even crazier is that I think Zoun didn't notice. So he doesn't know that he's been scouted.
Oh, man. And he's still gonna
Oh, don't tell me he's accidentally going to scout this.
Don't you dare tell me he did not.
Okay.
That's crazy.
I mean, what are the odds, really?
Very low. It's gonna be roll against Stargate, though not what you want. Sound has to be ready for the Stargate. Expect a shield battery going up in the main soon. Like in the next few seconds. I'm gonna zoom in. I'm zoomed in, Diego.
Zoomed in.
Yeah, how many seconds until a shield battery before we call it a disaster? ETA?
8 seconds.
8 seconds. 7, 6.
He's gonna be able to
5,
cancel the Stargate, actually.
4.
The Stalkers are not gonna make it on
3.
time.
Oh crap, this was happening too. Oh my god, okay, never mind. You don't need a shield battery if you just kill the pylon. My Jesus. Zoun is gonna have to tactile and run here with his single stalker, but doesn't get much better of an opening than this for Haas, so he knew better.
Oh, no, the probe gets caught, so he won't be able to build a pylon anytime soon. How does Zoun hold this? Like, he's even taking a Nexus behind this, which he won't be able to hold.
Gotta cancel that Nexus. I mean, yeah, if the question is how, then that Nexus needs to be cancelled. Will he cancel that Nexus? I don't see why he would. This Adept has to offer insane amounts of information. And I mean, it will get the information, actually. He will see 3 gateways, a full wall of once again. Nexus should be cancelled in the next few seconds, or I think it's gonna be game over here.
Isn't this game just a repeat of last game? I mean,
More or
Zoun
less.
also had a Stargate that was completely useless. At least this time he didn't make a Phoenix out of it.
Yeah. So we'll see if Haas has adapted, if there's something that he can do here to capitalize. Nexus needs to be cancelled. Haas was maybe not, shouldn't have poked it. Like, I think he had the right idea not to give the information, just let them, because the Nexus doesn't have the same vision as the units before it completes. So maybe he should have just seen if he completes the Nexus, because then you have such an advantage. He's going to be trying to breach, and actually one of the shield batteries already unpowered here. So I think he has enough,
force
perhaps.
builds. He has an overcharge, but the overcharge is not enough to protect the Stalkers from the volley. I think Zoun just dies here.
There is an Immortal on the way, but it's going to be a little bit too late by the looks of it. Already taking a lot of pro damage as 5 have gone down with a few more to follow. The Immortal's finally out, but still the ability to juggle these Stalkers from Haas. Still doing additional probe damage, and it looks at this point unrecoverable on the side of Zoun, who has invested into an extra shield battery. Doesn't even have the money to start another Immortal. And Haas, with the next set of warpins, will actually take game number 2. And we see how his plan was supposed to unfold in the first one.
Actually crazy to think that this should have been a 2-0 for Haas.
Yeah.
But he still has the chance to redeem himself into game 3.
Which would be crazy, eliminating Zoun this early in the tournament. One of the Protoss hopefuls.
That would be crazy.
I mean, we were just talking about who's top 5, who's top 3 Protoss players. I think Zoun would be in the conversation for top 5 for sure, right? At points, even in the conversation for top 3. But
I would agree. Yeah.
Haas is in no one's conversation for that. But should he be on the back of the series?
To be fair, I mean, this was one of the most unluckiest games that Zoun could have ever had. His proxy got scouted, he didn't know it got scouted, and then he also ended up losing the pylon before the Stargate could finish the Oracle.
Yeah, but is it unlucky if you don't know that it got scouted? Because I feel like that's a little bit on you.
Well, I think Haas's probe spotted the pylon while it was building.
Really?
So therefore, it did not have the vision to
no
see
way.
Haas's probe.
That is not unlikely. Okay.
Yeah.
That is painful. I think the pylon was built, no?
No, it was still building when Haas scouted it.
That's
for
crazy.
Sure.
Bananas.
But yeah, and now we have the last game on Altitude, the biggest map pool or map in this pool.
Yeah, still an option for Cannon Rush. I ain't scared. What do you think of this map, Daejo?
Honestly, PvP on this map can get pretty crazy. It is a map with a ramp on the natural, which is something we have not had in the past 2 games. So what does that change is that they could play one gate expand, which is what people usually do in PvP, and still be able to defend these kinds of builds. However, you do need to remember that proxy robo is usually, it can be the counter to one gate expand.
Okay.
So this is how it gets crazy, right? Haas has been doing proxy robo every time,
That's a good point.
and yet Zoun is still gonna try to do a one gate expand. So let's see how this unfolds.
Both players with the pylon on the low ground for the time being. Both players are going to be happy to drop a gateway after the fact. It's Haas who is a little bit more efficient here with the mining in between. And Zoun going to be a little bit quicker to the gateway as a result, potentially. Just a second.
We're both gonna do gateway scout. It's possible that we'll just see standard play, no proxies out of anyone. But I do feel like Haas would be the kind of guy to go into Stargate after that and just start pumping Phoenixes and force a Phoenix War, where usually it's anyone's game after that.
That's a very good point. Haas already taking his second gas a little bit sooner, but Zoun's going to be quick to follow. So both players anticipating that there could be a probe scout, even though they didn't actually confirm. Gateway scout is
double gateway.
Okay.
Wow.
And also all the scouts on the side of Zoun. He's very concerned about the proxy robo.
Yeah, and this is actually gonna work out great for Haas because he instead is gonna take his base behind it. He's gonna be very ahead economically. And unless Zoun finds a way to somehow do damage with his double gateway, which he shouldn't.
He should not.
Then Haas is gonna take a big lead. Even when Nexus before Cybercore, this is extremely greedy.
But I like it. I mean, as long as he's he likes walling off his base, his main. I wouldn't even mind for him to wall off the natural completely at this point, because Adepts are probably the most threatening unit that he can go up against.
Indeed.
It's going to be just a single Adept and a Stalker from Zoun that does not inspire confidence. It almost feels like he's playing not to lose here.
That is an interesting choice of units to produce.
Robo from Haas, I like it.
Proxy Stargate from Zoun.
Okay, I like that too.
But that is extremely far. It doesn't even feel like a proxy.
Very far, very late, but at least it's something, because he has to find a way to recover. And actually the proxy Stargate actually does stack up well against the Robo choice from Haas, right? So Haas sees double gateways, I like the Robo. And without that knowledge, Zoun already going into the Stargate, I mean, if you're going to choose one blind building to go for in this position where you've already put yourself behind just by kind of over-respecting your opponent, I think the Stargate could be it. The single Adept is going to go into the main.
That is big, actually.
Yeah, it would have been bigger if it was 2. Still, could be good. 2 probes all go down. That's why I was favoring a wall of 2, right? Like, if it was 2 Adepts, it could have been a little bit sketchier.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that Robo on the wall and get a full wall off, but this is still fine for Haas. He still has the economic advantage by far.
I'm gonna spot the Oracle too early on, and the Oracle actually turns on its beam. If it wasn't spotted already, it's now definitely a known quantity, but is that enough? This sentry is exposed. The Oracle should be able to fight it. Going straight into the natural, perhaps.
And these probes are not protected by the shield battery in the natural. They were gonna have to run a bit, which means several of them will lose their lives.
Yeah, 5 all day. So kind of equalizing things sound here, as his Nexus is nearly completed, and now the probe gap has been made to a single one, now 2. So much better, I mean, than a few minutes ago.
Yeah. Definitely way better now. I do like that Zoun already has his Twilight finish. Honestly, this feels like Zoun's game now.
It looks good.
Because he still has the Oracle alive. He has a Twilight done. Has made a Robo that only produced 1 Observer out of it. And that was it.
Yeah, well, he's producing a second one, but yeah, that doesn't do much for him at the moment.
Indeed. Now I do wonder what the follow-up will be here for Zoun. does add an extra gateway, which will take him up to a total of 3.
Blink, blink
So
on both ends.
yeah, and he has the Oracle for vision, so he could do some kind of 3-gate blink with pressure into the main. Or
Alright.
he could just choose to take his third base at an earlier timing. I think that would also be fine.
For sure.
Forge.
Yeah, Haas will be a little bit quicker to the upgrades on the back of that, provided he starts them soon. So expect a +1 attack here to get started from his side of things. There it is. And yeah, I mean, just Blink versus Blink, right? So Haas should be looking for an opportunity to take his own third base soon. Does have full information with the observer on Zoun's base, so he knows the gases are not being taken. Well, he is working with an extra gas for the time being.
And Haas is gonna have +1 attack soon, while Zoun is not opting to go for Forge anytime just yet. But frankly, I feel like in these low numbers, Stalkers, the attack upgrade won't make that much of a difference, right? You still want more, you want a higher Stalker count against this many enemies.
Yeah, the trade-off that I see here is not so much for the upgrade, but it is for the third. I think that Haas is getting set up for a 2-base all-in, right? And yeah, like, I think they're going to be working with similar numbers, but the upgrade will come in handy at the third. A very wide open position as well. There will be a single shield battery here on the side of Zoun, and more warpins coming in, but this is a huge commitment, I think, from Haas.
That is true. And I think Zoun is just starting to put 2 and 2 together with the Oracle not seeing any third bases going down. He is going to cut pro production finally, start an extra shield battery. He needs warpins. He needs a lot of them too. Because this is going to be a very difficult hold on a third base.
Yeah, and the +1 is about to hit, so that's the weight, and the Oracle falls right away. No revelation, no stasis traps, no nothing from it. Has still angling here, so not gonna hit as fast as possible. The one stasis trap will get taken down by the observer promptly. And yeah, let's see if this angle is a little bit better. I mean, both of the shield batteries should come in handy. I think I prefer the other angle, actually, because you could have been hitting the Nexus for free and forcing the Stalkers out. But instead, I mean, the concave is fantastic from Haas. And this looks pretty decent here. Now retreating as the shield battery overcharge does get popped. So just wait that one out. Keep your warpins and you should be golden. 2 Adepts also being warped in somewhere.
Adepts bouncing in between the natural and the main of Haas, actually getting some proc kills, but meanwhile Haas is not deviating from his plan, keeping up the attack. This is actually looking very tight. It could go either way. Stalker count very similar, 24 to 19. Zoun still on the defender's advantage, very slightly though, because those shield batteries are out of energy and he doesn't have an overcharge.
Yeah, and the concave is gonna favor Haas once again here. Upgrades as well. Don't forget are favoring him. The blink stalkers in the back for Zoun do snipe the warp prism, and now for Haas he has a decision to make. Is it go time now? Because if it's not now, it's never. But no, the biggest stasis trap in the world. And now Zoun with a miracle stasis trap might stabilize and come back to win this game, Daiejo.
Good lord, clip it and ship it, guys, because this is the most insane stasis I have seen in my entire life. Actually might change the course of the game.
Oh, it actually already did, I think. I think this might be a hold now with the shield battery overcharge. It is unpowered, however, but Stalker numbers do favor Zoun. The concave is better for him as well. Upgrade's not yet caught up. But what an exciting game this turned out to be, and Haas is in a little bit of trouble, and by a little bit I mean a lot. He doesn't have a third, and with that warp prism falling, I mean, he's remade one, but just the last couple of moves, perfect from Zoun there. One of them wasn't really up to him, but it was perfect nonetheless, right? That stasis was just brutal.
That was absolutely insane. Now they are on even Stalker counts. The only advantage Haas having is that he has +1 attack, but Zoun on the other hand has shield batteries. This is crazy. Absolutely. He's gonna warp in 4 more Stalkers, so honestly this is do or die for Haas, I think.
Yeah, and
Cannot
this
afford
is
this game to go on.
absolutely not. And this is the angle that I think he should have just committed to from the beginning, because it's such a wide open space, right? And he had the greater stalker numbers. It feels like here you can threaten the stalkers and then pull them back, and if not, you're hitting the nexus as well, draining shield battery energy. The other angle was a little bit sketchier for me, but he was making it work all the same. It's just that Warp Prism snipe that made him go forward with the rest of his units to try and end the game, because it's such a tough decision, right? It's like, I am at my strongest right this second, so I can't fault him for going for the main there. Just sad that Zoun was ready, and now with an Immortal, he should have plenty. The bigger concave there for him as well, and don't forget, he is the one with a third base, so this looks all over pretty much.
Yeah, I think at this point, Zoun has a knife and a cheese in his hand. He has more bases. He has Immortal in his composition now. And he just added 3 more gateways, so production is not going to be an issue for him.
A knife and a cheese. Is that a Brazilian say? Is it US based?
Yeah.
A knife and a cheese is Brazilian? That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm bringing some representation to the cast.
Yeah, I love it. Look at those shield batteries, so inefficient. Gotta kill one of them at this point.
He is actually going to try to take a third base now, so he's probably going to try to play from behind. I don't think Zoun is going to let that slide, though.
Nah. Zoun knows he's just going to move him forward. Completely out of position is Has. Blink forward warranted. And it will take down all of the hope for Has, really, who has to pull back all the way. The last thing you possibly want to do, concede the last bit of map control that you had. And now, I mean, it has to be feeling claustrophobic, and he has to be feeling like he's out of options. +2 attack is the last glimmer of hope that I think he's waiting for here.
Yeah. Oh. I mean, this is a decent catch for Has. Gets a Paladin and 2 Adepts that were already warped. But he will need at least more of those pickups to even get even.
Okay, there's one onto the Oracle. And,
3 to go.
Yeah, I mean, Zoun doesn't really need to be moving here. If the Immortal gets sniped, if this fight happens on Has's terms, which it's not at the moment, right? The concave is not there for him, and Zoun is being careful to maintain that advantage. Force shields available though. Zoun I really don't think he should be trading here, but he is.
I think it's okay as long as he's fighting on the other side. Then it gives him time to react to anything that might happen, right? So I'm not too worried about it. Or maybe this is just the Han Solo's way of saying, hey,
Get out.
This is my game. Get out.
Maybe. It seems like more disrespect than anything else to me. Like, I think that you're fighting up against like better upgrades at this point. You have a third, you don't really need to, but he's that confident, and I mean, he does have more, so it's gonna be it. It's gonna be enough. Perhaps, from my perspective, just an unnecessary risk, but maybe it wasn't a risk at all, right? This is just Han Solo's way of sending Chewbacca back home.